Hi, I'm David Zyla, and I'd like to welcome you to Knack at Home. These programs are produced by the National Arts Club in New York City. If you're not familiar with it, the National Arts Club is a nonprofit arts club and produces approximately 150 programs throughout the year. For more information on the National Arts Club, you can go to the National Arts Club website, which is nationalartsclub.org, or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So today, we're very excited. Today we have with us the man responsible for those fantastic costumes on that incredible show, Dancing with the Stars. So let me tell you a little bit about him. Stephen Norman Lee has been part of the costume design team of Dancing with the Stars, starting with the 3rd season through the current 28th. Oh my God. Lee's design work has been featured on both stage and screen, including America's Got Talent and Alias, and has been recognized with 4 consecutive Emmy Award nominations. So without further ado, please welcome Stephen Norman Lee. Stephen. Hello.
Hi. Hello. How's it going?
It's going. It's going. We are so excited to have you with us today. Thank you for joining us. And so I'm going to jump right into it. I have so many questions for you, and then I know you're going to be sharing some images with us as well shortly. So I'm just curious. So were you that 6-year-old kid, like, you know, being Mr. Creative and drawing and painting and, I don't know, choosing clothes for your friends and family? Or did you always have this costume design thing in you?
Right. Yeah. So as a kid, I've always loved drawing. You know, that was the initial thing. I find myself like drawing on the walls with my crayons and getting in trouble. So it's always been a passion to draw, and I always loved color. And so it really started just with drawing, less, you know, and then theater came about in high school. So I was very into theater. And, you know, I was not designing, but I was in theater. So then that kind of, you know, initiated a lot of the arts in me. And then, yeah, and then actually in college, I wanted to do more set design, and the class was full. So then I decided, hey, I might as well try costume design. And then I did that, and I just fell in love with it. So that's how it kind of initiated all. It kind of like trickled down into that, yeah.
So I have to say, I think that everyone watching today and who watches your show is so grateful that that set design class was full because we get to see your beautiful work in costume. Isn't it funny how that works, right?
Yeah.
That is incredible. So what was your first? So thank you for taking us through that period. What was the first professional design job that you did?
It was actually in college because yeah, after I went in from set to costume design, in our school there, they let us design the productions there. So one of my close friends that I'm still friends with, he did a production, and so it was in the college at that time that we did our own shows. So yeah, it was then, but it was the Apple Tree. It was like a musical. And
oh, 3 1-act. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, so that was actually that first show that I did. But it was amazing. Yeah, I mean, I didn't, you know, it was the first experience. And in my undergrad where I studied with a lot of the graduate costume designers. And so I had a really good education, and my professor was amazing. So from there, I went to graduate school, and then that is how that happened. Yeah, but I always knew I wanted to go in TV. I knew that, you know, born and raised in LA, I didn't want to, you know, continue with theater. I knew I wanted to go into television.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So speaking of television, you know, you've done several shows now, which we'll talk about the other ones besides Dancing with the Stars. Yeah. But does television have specific parameters in design? Like, are there colors, patterns, et cetera, that you always go to or never go to and so on? Like what would you say are the rules of designing for television?
Right. You know what? So with Dance with the Stars, I mean, it's such a different kind of genre. Like it's so much color in that actually. And to me, it was such a different way of designing because you still tell a story, but through dance. And it's like each dance is so different and each dance has its own story. So in that sense, like a paso doble would be more dark and black and red, which we also reverted to other colors. And, you know, because how many times can you do a paso doble after all those seasons, right? But yeah, I mean, I think with dancing, we tend to go more colorful to be, it's kind of an escape for all the viewers, you know? And especially when you have like the Latin dances that lends itself to be more colorful and bright, you know, and then you have the more contemporary dances that sometimes are more subtle and grays and light pinks. You know, you kind of create a mood actually in the dance and in the costume. So that's what's actually really special about the show to me, is that each dances tell a story rather than like, you know, where you have like a sitcom or an episodic where it's kind of a scripted thing. In our show, it's the dance, it's the celebrity, it's their story, it's the song, it's the type of dance. So that lends itself to the different kind of colors that you might be using in each dance that they perform.
Thank you. So take us through the process of Dancing with the Stars. So
Right.
the stars are announced, and then ...
Okay, yeah. So then they start rehearsing. I mean, obviously learning the basic dances, and they have to be able to, you know, connect with their partner. Like they match everybody up with a specific partner. And you know, there's different ones where it's like some of them get along and some of them have a little bit of conflict, you know. I mean, that kind of is just natural in any way, but that's part of the show too, is how are they going to get along? How are they going to learn to dance? And most of these people have never danced before, so that's another challenge. And if they have, they are immersed into a world where they've never, you know, maybe they know hip hop, but they don't know about, you know, the foxtrot. So it's all so different. It's another world for them. And we have to kind of embrace who they are too. Like if they're athletes, you know, we still have to kind of represent who they are and, you know, not put something in a costume where they feel uncomfortable, which it has happened though, where we have people wear things that they're like, I would never wear this. And we're like, well, this is a whole new, you know, different world for you and it will help you, or, you know, get into the whole dance. So that's kind of the first thing. They have to get just used to the whole world and their partners and the styles of dancing and being able to be so physical. You know, the athletes are always really good because they know about, you know, they're very competitive, by the way, you know, so the athletes they always succeed because they're athletic, they're competitive, so they always know that, you know, which surprises me sometimes because we get some footballers that actually go far because you would never think they were so, the whole masculine side of them, but they actually embrace the whole dancing part and they actually love the rhinestones. So I thought that was amazing. Yeah, it's really kind of knowing the world and the dance. And then from there, the first show is always the tricky part because it's kind of how we introduce everybody. And everyone has to still be kind of who they are, you know, like, you know, we don't want to make them feel too uncomfortable. And it's our way of the show kind of representing them as, oh, this isn't the actress, this is the footballer guy. So it's a little bit more like not as glitzy in the first episode, but then they kind of, every person grows into the show a little bit and they actually, you know that they have to do what they got to do to win at the end, you know, so they're willing. So you see some even athletes being less rhinestone and at the end, they're like fully rhinestone because they know that's going to be helping them to win the show. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's all because of the rhinestones. All right, you just revealed the secret.
Rhinestones or the lack of clothes.
Ah,
That's
interesting.
always good too.
Interesting. So speaking of the show, I know you have some images. Might you talk us through
Oh yeah.
some of your favorite designs?
Okay, great, perfect. Does it show? Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah. So this is Jordan and Lindsay. You know, my coworker and I, Daniela, we both designed together. So this is kind of a good example of how we match the couples together. And in this setting, this is actually a good one where the producers really wanted a monochromatic background. So everything was black and white with accents of the teal and the red. So this is where they popped actually. As you can kind of see, you don't see the full set here, but you see that image of black and white, and then they're the ones that pop. And then there's accents of their colors in the lighting and the sets later on. But in this design that we did, we actually matched them together to make them complementary as a unit. And we even go to the extent of even dyeing their shoes. So you can even see in his shoes, they're fully dyed. And in some cases too, we have a really amazing shoemaker that I would even have him cover the shoes in the fabric that we use. So especially if it's a pattern, so if it's like a zebra or if it's a specific gold, we actually deconstruct the shoe completely and recover the shoe in that fabric. In this case, it was actually dyed, but like usually, yeah, we would actually even fully take the shoe apart and then put it back, cover it in the fabric, and then so it elongates the whole line of the dancer actually. So that's kind of the little bit of a design visually way of making their line look longer is matching the shoes with the clothing. So that's always something that helps them when they're with their dance.
Beautiful. And did you have that top beaded for her as well?
Oh, yeah. So they're all rhinestoned. Everything is just Swarovski crystal. So yeah, so that was all hand rhinestone on her.
Beautiful.
Oh yes. So then this image, we have Daniela did this sketch on the right. I did the one on the left. So we have to. Our sketches are really quick because we have less than a week to design and build it. That's the thing that's special about our show is that we are a live show and also we don't have much turnaround. So we have less than 5 days to just do everything. So this is actually a good
Less than
example.
5 days for the entire show.
Yeah.
Wow.
So exactly, it's really tight and everything's custom built from the men and the women because of the necessity of being able to move and dance. And some of the men's suits, you know, if you shop the suit, the shoulders will rise. So in this case, we cut it differently so they doesn't rise. Everything's cut with stretch. So, and then this sketch, actually, we have, what's great is that we started to incorporate Disney Week into our shows because we have started to have these themes every week. So we'll have movie week, we'll have Disney week. What else did we have? We had like, you know, a trio week where there's 3 dancers. So this is where we actually have to design according to the themes of Disney's character, which can be tricky. It seems like it might be easier because at least we have something to, you know, fall on as in like images. But it was hard because like, and Daniela did a great sketch with, she's supposed to be Jiminy Cricket, you know? So how can we make Jiminy Cricket, you know, be a danceable jazz outfit, you know? And that's the trick too, because even last year we had to do Beauty and the Beast, but they were doing, I think, like a rumba, which is a very soft dance. So with those outfits in Beauty and the Beast, you can't really, you know, dance in those costumes. So you have to interpret it into a dance form. So at least this one is a little easier. It was jazz, so it's not so as complicated. But some of the more trickier ones was the rumba and the Beauty and the Beast. But this one was great because we actually, for him, it was Nick from The Bachelor, and we actually had the hat we made for him was actually custom made because it was really hard to find that shape, a Pinocchio hat that was in that color, in that shape, because who wears that right now, you know? So, so we had to custom make that one. And to make, this is a good example of proportions. So for his design, I made everything smaller to make him look like more like of a puppet, you know what I mean? Like he was like this little overgrown boy. So everything was like shorter. Like actually, there's another image of this, the realizations of these sketches, where I actually ended up cropping his pants too, to make him look like he was like, you know, bigger than his clothes, and so everything was kind of shortened. So at the end, it wasn't even long pants anymore. It became shorter, like cropped high water pants. But that was kind of a little trick to give like a little proportions. Oh, there you go.
Ah.
Yep, so we actually shortened his pants to make him look like a little kid, to give him a little bit like he's wearing, you know, clothes that didn't fit him as well. So yeah, everything was cropped. The vest you see is a little bit more cropped, the pants cropped. So this is a great example of how we started actually not just designing dance ballroom costumes, but then getting more involved with Disney was actually fun for us because it gave a little twist to all the usual things that we usually do. Oh yeah, so this was Kel from this season. This one was actually, you know, we actually had new producers this year, which was great too, because we got to do different things on our shows. This is when we started to do a little bit less matching actually, as just a test to see, you know, give us a difference for the viewers. His jacket, everything was custom built, by the way, on this one. Daniela did a great job on the dress. We custom built his suit. Even though it's a black suit, it was still custom made. And we had the custom polka dots made for his suit also. That was actually ironed on there too. Because it was actually, you know, you can't find certain patterns. And this was kind of like the look we were going for. But this is a great way where we're showing back to more of the classic ballroom dancing, where the dress is very movable, him in a suit. Oh yeah, oh, there we go, back to that one. Okay, so yeah, so oh, this is it. This was our.
Do you have more to say on the other one? We can just go back.
Oh no, this is good. Yeah,
okay,
either way. Yeah, so yeah, this is just more of a classic ballroom dance for us. I think they were doing the quick step on this one. Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. And this one is when, it's actually, this was an opening, I believe, that we did. So this is, sometimes we do a lot of opening numbers where we actually have to dress everybody in the same color. So, you know, this is just a general opening number that we did on location, actually. But it was great because I really like opening numbers because everyone is uniformal and all together. And I hope we still can do this. I don't know how everything's going to affect dancers being able to dance together in groups now. So I don't know the situation with what's happening with COVID, if we can still do this. I hope so, because it always looks great on screen because it has a kind of a Bugsley Berkeley feel to it. But yeah, I'm not sure how we're going to do this. We're going to be more like, you know, just couples. Oh yeah, so then this was Sasha and Ali last year. We built all that. Our tailor built both of those suits. And again, as you notice, like, you know, we did yellow and black two tones on her shoe, actually. He was debating. I remember he kept on switching, like, should I do yellow and black? And he just kept it black on him. But this is a good example of where we actually even start adding backup dancers. That's another thing that started developed in our show is they wanted to make it a bigger production. So we always would add backup dancers. So, which was complicated because that's more people to dress. But yeah, they were great. They were so talented. But this is a good example of color where it was actually, again, them popping in yellow as a contrast of the more monochromatic background. Oh yeah, classic. This is an older season. This is our trio. This was what I was telling you about how some things we have trios. So they brought back Christy Yamaguchi to dance here in the trio with Lindsay. Yeah, so this is also classic ballroom again. But I love the classic ballroom because it brings it back to kind of an old Hollywood feel that I always love. But yeah, again, everything custom built for them too, movable dancing. But yeah, this was tricky because now this always happens at the end of the season where you think everyone's like, doesn't it get easier because there's less couples? but they add the trio, so then you have to build also for their third partner. So it doesn't ever get less costumes for some reason, even though it seems like people get eliminated, but half of the way through the season they throw this trio in there. You end up doing almost maybe more, but it is custom built again for all of them, even for their trio partner. Oh yeah, back to Disney. So yeah, this was Coco, and this was Nikki and Artem. And this actually, we did this dance before Coco actually came out. So Disney was very specific and really wanted approvals. So we really had to design this very closely with Disney, because they were very, they want to be very sensitive to everything about the dance, about the silhouettes, about the culture, and also because the movie didn't come out yet. So that was actually tricky. And what was hard about this one was that we wanted to do a color, again, that popped, but it was actually the challenging part was finding the hat for him, because it was this teal, they wanted teal. So I had to find a hat that was already custom, that was already made. So we didn't custom make this hat. But it was, thank God we found it. I actually have really good mariachi contacts now. But yeah, this was actually a hard one because it was, the hat gave me a problem. Who knew? But I didn't want to get a black hat. I wanted to get the teal hat and gold trim. So this was a bit of a challenge, but they look great though. And another example of how Disney works with us with the themes.
So in a situation like this, Stephen, could we go back to that slide? In a situation like this, and you're searching for the hat, are you waiting to purchase the fabric to make the other pieces in the meantime so that everything coordinates, or do you just start doing it and hope that you're going to find a hat that works?
Basically, we start doing it. There's not much time. So on this one, we did start already getting the teal ready. I think at the end of the day, like there was, in my head, if we didn't find it, I would be like, maybe we'll cover a hat, maybe we'll dye one, but that just never ever looks so great. And what's beautiful about this one was that it was already embroidered in the gold. So like we needed that special hat, and he's particular in his hats, and I get it because I'm also particular with hats. It just had to fit a certain way too, and now it's all coming back to me because like I know it's all coming back.
A little hat trauma moment.
I know. Because it had to fit a certain way, not only like shape wise, like visually, but when he danced, it wouldn't shift. And so it was very, very complicated because he did take it off, but he did dance with it also. But it had to fit a certain way so it wouldn't shift on his head when he danced, even though we would foam it and everything. To him, he had to feel right too. And I get it. He's the one dancing. And so I can't be so hard on that. And I understand. But also the shape too, like there's ones that were bigger and smaller. So yeah, I totally forgot about that. But yeah, it was a lot, but we finally got it. It was just one of the 50 costumes we had to do. So, but yeah, I remember now it was hard because we didn't want it to like spin while he's moving too. Yeah. Oh, this is our promo shoot that we do usually. And again, a good example of when we're making everyone unified. This was a great season too. We had great dancers at that time too. But yeah, this is just our promo shoots that we usually do. We usually use costumes from our stock on this. But yeah, this is always a good way of, representing our show. Lovely. Oh yeah, this was just our past season too. Another perfect example of they were actually very matching on this one. I thought the production design was beautiful this season. They did a great job. We got a new set for this season, season 28. And he did a great job in this too. He made it to the finals. And Whitney's always amazing. But yeah, this is actually, example of also, again, classic soft chiffon, and his shirt was sheer too. So it was a very soft, movable costume on this one. Very pastel, you know, it was actually more of a, I think it was actually more of a cream, but the lighting made it look more lavender. Oh, this is actually an example of how sometimes our show can be just over the top fun. You know what I mean? Like when you see the previous photo, how it was more elegant. This is more of like a jazzercise and again, group number. We actually built everything on this again. So like this is, it's funny because this fabric, to save from rhinestoning everything, it was actually a sequin fabric that was really scratchy. So I felt bad because like we had to like edge it with a piping, if you can see on the boys and the girls, like we had to edge it with the piping so they won't scratch themselves, because wherever their arms hit the fabric, it was actually scratching them. But it was such a good effect that we just, they were troopers. They danced in it. But I heard it so many times how it's scratchy fabric. But then it's 1 minute, right? Come on. I mean, they did a great job, and I think it was visually really cool to have this kind of like disco jazz dance here. But yeah, this is it's totally different from the silhouettes we usually do. But again, it gives the viewer something else to kind of see that's contrasting with all the beautiful other costumes we do. Oh yeah, this is Adam Rippon. He was great. I think he was an example, I guess, that I could talk about, where he was also doing, I think it was like like a skating tour. So I never saw him till the day of the show on Monday, which was scary. So his first bit was always like 4 hours before the show. Luckily, he's like used to all the shine and the glimmer and the sheer and the rhinestones. So and he has a great body, obviously, as an athlete and a skater. So he was an easy fit because, you know, he was used to it. But it was nerve-wracking because our show was at 5 p.m. Pacific time, so it's like 8 p.m. Eastern time. I would have us fitting at 8 a.m. our time here. And I just never know, especially with suits are very hard to adjust if we need to do something to it. So it was always really hard because, yeah, his first fits were always on Monday, the day of the show. And our designing was always done through FaceTime. But I was so glad because he really trusted us to design for him. So he was actually really lovely. But he's an example of where, yeah, sometimes they don't even dance or wear the outfits until the day of, you know. So it was a hard one for him. But
Wow.
it worked. Yeah, I guess it's more me being nervous about it because I just don't know how it's like, what if it's cut wrong, or what if it's, you know, when he got bigger, or I don't know, like those things happen though. Sometimes, you know, things get cut a little differently, or if they grow a little bit more, or they lost a little bit of weight. And especially with suits, I think it's tricky, especially with the jackets. With the pants, we can always take in the waist. But jackets, I don't know. It's between the shoulders and this, you know, the seams of the arms. It's just every part. I feel it's not as easy to alter that than like a shirt, you know, for me.
So many factors. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, this is when we go into team dances. These are tricky too, because then this is actually towards the end of the season too, where we have to design for everybody. So, but then you get different body types. So that gets complicated because sometimes people will like one design, but then that will fit their body, but then it's harder to fit another body type. So, and this actually was, I think it was Halloween team dances, which I always love. We have a Halloween theme. Hopefully we'll be back where we could do that again. But yeah, this is hard too because you have to design for all the couples as a group, but then also consider all their body types too. Because as you can see here, though not in such details here, they all have to wear pretty much the same outfits. So you have to make sure everyone's happy with the design, because you can get someone that's taller, larger, or someone that's shorter, you know, and you have to really consider all that when you're going with this. But this is tricky because they're also at the end of the season, so they're more stressed at the end, and they're competing against another team, and so it's kind of getting competitive here. But But everyone, this was our Phantom of the Opera team dance, I believe, that we did. Yeah.
Great. Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing all of those beautiful images. And I want to share that I'm seeing so many comments here about how much our audience loves your work. And I just want to echo that myself. I also want to mention to our audience, if you do have questions, type them in and we will get to them shortly. So Stephen, what, you know, you mentioned how you have input and you collaborate with the dancers. I also know that you have a real collaboration with the network and your producers. How does all of it work together?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's such a collaborative group. I think the producers kind of set a tone to it, which I think is great, because if not, it could just go in so many different directions. So they set kind of the environment of it. And I think a lot of it is based on the song too. So if the song is like a fast paced or, you know, or if it's very contemporary, soft, more of a emotional feeling, that gets involved too into the whole design of it. But yeah, we have a great design team, a production team, and they kind of set the tone just so it kind of reins it in a little bit. Of course, the dancers will have their say too, or because they're choreographing it, or the celebrity might be like, well, I like this color better. So it's a lot of compromising and a lot of at the end, it's like you become this person where you kind of just trying to blend it all in to make it unified together. That makes everyone happy, actually, you know?
So you just touched upon your costume design team. One of our questions was, how large is your staff? And I wonder if you would talk a little bit about the roles of the people that you work with.
Okay, yeah. So our team is over 30 people. And on show day, there's more too, because we have costumers that help dress everybody. But you know, we have a tailor who's amazing. He does all the men's. We have a women's workroom that does all the women's stuff. We have costumers that help all the crafts, and they also do a lot of the help with the fittings. And also on show days, they help dress everybody, which, you know, when we had big numbers, I'm not sure again how that's going to apply now. You know, we needed all the help we can get for that. But it's a big team. It really takes a huge team to make this all happen.
And is there, so you said that it all comes together in 5 days, but when, you know, do you start preparing prior?
Yeah, so we would design it on Tuesday, and then with all the dancers. So that's the whole day of designing is on Tuesday.
Wait,
And
so you design the whole, you literally design the whole show in one day?
Yes, exactly. I know.
That's insane.
So we're there sketching really fast on there. They would have no time to really do full sketches. We sketch it really fast. And then on Wednesday, we shop all the fabrics. So Danielle and I and our assistants, we all go and just, you know, someone starts at downtown and someone's over here in Hollywood shopping fabrics here, or someone's doing research on a mariachi hat, you know, like we have like, or ordering online. There's like so many things like I feel that we all just kind of like divide and conquer. But yeah, we have great, you know, assistants that help us too. And we need them so bad, because it's just no way you can do it on your own, because everything is just so spread out, you know, especially in Los Angeles. So, you know, we definitely like split everybody up and have all the little places they go. You know, this person goes to downtown and do the pleaters, and then we'll get the pattern, you know, we'll look for the harder fabrics that need a pattern, because sometimes that's harder for someone else to do, and I'd rather do that, you know, like to find the pattern fabrics. But like, yeah, so everyone just spreads out, and then we go over the designs on Wednesdays with our workroom. So I would go to the tailor shop and talk to our tailor. Daniela would talk to the women's workroom. We split again at night. Actually, when we all get all the fabric, then we split again. And then on Thursday, they start cutting it. It's like the tailor shops and the workroom starts cutting it. And then Friday, they have their first fit. Some of them, half the team, half the celebrities and dancers have their first fitting on Friday, the rest on Saturday, and then a final fit on Sunday. And then we have a show on Monday. So it has to be done by then.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
We have a question from Valerie who asks, if you design it all in one day, when do the approvals happen?
Yeah, so then luckily the producers are with us with the designing on Tuesday. So they're already there if there's any changes. So like, or if they feel like, oh no, we can't do that. So then that's already, I think that saves a lot of time already because they're already there. So the creative team is all together. So I think because there's no room to have changes. Sometimes if something gets more complicated and maybe a celebrity wants a different color, then like we might on Wednesday regroup on that. But after that, there's not much time. So yeah, we've had that where it's conflicting kind of ideas. And on Wednesday, we're still trying to get the fabrics, but then also resolved, one or two, designs. But as long as it keeps to that, we're okay. Yeah.
Is there a star that has not been on Dancing with the Stars that you would absolutely love to design for?
Well, I'm trying to think of like, there's so many people. I mean, I would love to have like Dolly Parton on it or, someone that's just like, like I love the classic.
I think you would appreciate the rhinestones.
Yeah, that would be amazing to be on, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, when we had people from the Brady Bunch, I think because that's such a classic childhood memory was from the Brady Bunch. When we had people from the Brady Bunch was like Florence Henderson was great to have, because that was just like, she was Mrs. Brady, like it was nice it just had some comfort to finally like work with them and somebody you used to watch TV on, so yeah.
If someone were to describe your style as a designer, what words do you think they would use?
Well, it's interesting because I never thought it would be this long on Dancing with the Stars. So I guess for now, because it's been so many years on this, I would say colorful. It would be like elegant and a lot of sparkle.
So when I want to go back, I should have asked you this earlier, but you talked about, you taking the costume design class when the set design class was full and so on. I'm just curious if earlier in your career, if you had a mentor.
Yeah, so like when it was mainly my undergrad professor that really got me into this. It's Madeline Kozlowski. She was amazing, and she really got me into it. Because she saw what I could do, and she's the one that pushed me actually. And she knew I wanted to take set design, she was like, "No, you should go into costuming." So that's kind of how she was a big start in my career in undergrad. And then I had Susan Sue, who was also my mentor in my graduate work. David, did it freeze? Did we freeze?
Let's give him just a minute, Stephen.
Oh, okay.
He might be logged back in.
Did it freeze?
Must have. Let me see. But I can ask you a couple questions. Let's see.
Is it on David's side or is it?
Yeah, I think it's on David's side. So let's keep going. I see a question here about the team. So how many people do you have constructing with you?
Oh yeah, so we do have like a full workroom, for the men's and ladies. About like 30 plus, there's 15 ladies in the workroom, and then our costumers are all there too. So we have a big, huge team of like 30 plus people there.
Let's see. Is the entire season planned in advance with the themes and the costumes, or is it shorter notice?
They try to be ahead in the way they kind of design it, as in like every week. I think we do have like notice if we're going to have a Disney week or if we're going to have like a movie week. So it can be a little bit semi pre-planned, but not fully, because you never know which celebrities are going to make it through. So it's hard to design for them until we know who makes it towards the end or each week. But we do know generally it's kind of like they kind of pre-plan the themes already. Like if we're going to have the Halloween week, we're going to have a Disney week, we're going to have a movie week. So that's at least, or like when I think we had like Cirque du Soleil week. So at least we know that. But pre-designing is hard because, again, we don't know who's going to make it every week or who's going to get eliminated.
I'll turn it back.
Sorry about that. We have a question from Nika. Do you recycle your fabrics or restyle costumes?
Yeah, so we rarely reuse or recycle the outfits, as in like the main show. So like, but as everyone saw, like some of the promo shoots, like the silver dresses or the silver bomber jackets or like those. So you know, if we use a red dress or a red suit for a dance, that will go into our stock and that could be reused as a group number. So that goes into our like red dress section or our red suit section, and then we could use that as an opening number, or we could use it as a promo shoot, or people in the background. So some of those dancers you saw in the background, if it's not a custom build for them, and it will be like, okay, we'll rework those dresses and they would wear the red dresses or the red jackets. So they basically be used for background or for a group dance or for a promo shoot. We'll rarely use it for a main show because the main show is so specific, as in the looks of each dance. Yeah.
Got it. Sally asks, how much prep time is there before the season starts? You talked about each show, and she's curious if you create slopers for everyone during pre-production. Would you also tell our audience what a sloper is?
Right. So then, so no, we don't actually. We don't actually pre-do that. It's kind of hard because we can't really do anything where we can design it for them. You know what I mean? We don't know, again, I was mentioning, like, we don't know who is going to actually be eliminated or who's going to go on. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we do have our forms that we make, and we do pad them all out. But again, people lose weight and they don't really, it's easier with the stretch fabrics to manipulate them a little bit better. You know what I mean? Because it's such a way where we can actually stretch or take in better with the stretch fabrics. So yeah, we do have forms that we make all for everybody. And we also did the Dancing Stars Kids. And so we actually got different forms for the little, because that was only for one season though. And we actually had to buy these little forms for them too, where we had to build little outfits for them. Actually, missed that. That was actually a great season. I wish we would go back to do kids because, and I think they just need to do it like, I think we did it in the summer. We really should do it in the fall when, or actually, no, we did it. We taped it in the summer and then we actually aired it in the fall. But I think they should show it in the summer because that's when the kids were off.
Right.
But yeah, so we actually had to get all these different forms of these little body shapes. And that was really fun because you were designing costumes, but they were so tiny. It was like, it was perfect. I wish we would just do that again.
All right. So we heard it here first. Two of your other credits are Alias and America's Got Talent. And would you tell us a little bit about the differences and the similarities between Dancing with the Stars and shows like those?
Oh, okay, yeah. So, well, Alias was actually one of my first shows I worked with. The designer was Laura Goldsmith, and I was interning with her, and she actually was so generous and helped me move up to be assistant designer, which was really great, and I really am so blessed to have her. But that was such a great show at the time because it was so new and different because it was actually about spies. And they had, Laura did a great job where she, she had all these aliases, and, Jennifer Garner had all these, where she was in India, she was in China, she was in Russia. And it was such a different show compared to this, because that was more of an episodic. But at that time, it was so exciting because, like you never know which episode, which country you're, quote unquote, we were in LA though, but which country you were supposed to be in. So, but yeah, that was a great learning experience, and so different from this show. And then with America's Got Talent, I actually think that's more challenging than dancing. With America's Got Talent, you have to work with people that aren't usually performers, they are people that are, around across America, and they're not used to being dressed up a certain way. So you have to dress them so they're still who they are, but then you kind of up the level. And sometimes that's really hard because they're not used to wearing certain clothing, I remember there was one group, this was in New York actually, when I met you, David. There was this one boy group, and they were not used to wearing skinny jeans. And it wasn't like, skinny. They were just slimmer cut jeans. They were used to wearing wide, baggy jeans, but that's just what they were used to. And they thought that would look great. And I told them, like, you know what? Like, why don't you try on these other jeans? I think they're gonna look really good on you. Like, just they were so, they saw them so skinny, and they were so scared about venturing into trying something new. And I told them, like, the silhouettes now are a little different. Let's try this little bit more slim cut. And they put it on, and they felt very uncomfortable. But at the end, they got so many compliments that they told me that now that's all the jeans that they wear now is the skinnier, slim jeans. So, but it's really taking them out of their comfort zone and putting them into a place where it's like, no, you should try this. It's, it's kind of what's in right now. Like, it'll look really good on you. It's harder because you don't really give them, in dancing, we kind of create this fantasy world. This, we're still trying to make them who they are and make them feel comfortable, but then they're also not performers, so it's a little harder on America's Got Talent. And on that one, you never know what you're gonna get to, because on dancing, we know they're gonna do, a salsa or a foxtrot. On America's Got Talent, it's like, we could have 10 musicians, and then we have like a 50-girl dance group. We would have like a comedian. We can have, it's just so, or like there was one act that was all dogs, so we had to dress the dogs. So,
how often can you say that, right?
Yeah, it's just like, I know, it's like circus on speed, because there's so many different people and like so many different groups, and you don't know what you're gonna get. Like, I think we had people that were like swallowing fire. You had to fireproof everything. Yeah, it's actually harder, I think. Yeah.
One of the questions that keeps popping up from our wonderful audience is, what happens to the clothes after they're worn?
So it goes, we have a whole stock room of these clothes. So usually we would, again, we would have our section where we could reuse it as a group number, or they would go on tour too sometimes. So then that would go with us on tour. So we would, if it fits the whole look for the tour, we would take that and use it for the tour. But yeah, not really used for main show again on that. Just used for stock, yeah. Okay,
all right. And as someone whose work is clearly so widely admired, I'm curious, who do you admire?
Oh, as in like designers? Or, I mean, I get really inspired by period, like I love the 30s and 40s. That's kind of like my inspiration. And a lot of things is just like, I just don't think some of the designs are, especially even architecturally, even like buildings and clothing, like in the 30s and 40s, it was just so much more like time and love put into it for some reason. Like even when I'm looking at architecture, I see more of that in the details, so I really love that time period for me as an inspiration. Yeah, I wish people would kind of dress a little bit more now, but that's why I really loved dancing, especially when we do some of the ballroom stuff. I feel that we can incorporate a little bit of the 30s glamour and 40s old Hollywood feel to it.
for someone interested in a career like yours, what advice would you give them in terms of a first step?
Yeah, I think what the best thing
Don't
is,
take the set design class, right?
yeah, don't take this as design classes. Go right to costume. Um, I think I think what initially they should do is actually go and see theater. You know what I mean? Go go to the museums and see the inspiration of all the costume and clothing. But I think a lot with designing, it's not just about sketching and building. I think they really have to know and want to tell a story through clothes. I think that's a lot of our work is actually telling a story, like who this person is through their clothing. Like what would this character wear in their closet? What would be in their closet, to make them who they are. It's a very people person job. As you know, David, I mean, there's so many types of people we work with, and it's different personalities. So you really have to get along with people. I think, they should maybe get involved in, somehow working in a costume, area, just so they get used to knowing there's different types of bodies and shapes and people, personalities. I think that's a big thing in our job is the people. And you really have to get along with a lot of different types.
Great advice. So we have another question for you. How many hours a week do you work to create the costumes when you're in production?
Yeah, I mean, I think by 28 seasons, we kind of made it we kind of have a well-oiled machine. But in the beginning, our hours were long. I mean, we still work every day. Danielle and I work every day, 7 days a week. So it's a really tough schedule for us. But average right now, we could do like 12 hours a day. That would be our good time. I mean, there were some days we were working until like 10. Like we were so exhausted. Like we did major hours. But we have a system now that hopefully, that we can keep that's a little bit less, hours for us. Yeah.
A little less frenetic.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you personally have a favorite season?
God, I mean,
In terms of your designs, like when you look back and say, wow, that's my favorite, or
you know what? That's a hard one. I don't know if I really have like a main season because I think every season was so different from each other. And it really depends on the whole celebrity cast too. So, I mean, we had one season where it's all athletes and that was great too, but it was very different, like they were all athletes. And so that was actually nice. But God, I think, yeah, it's a hard one because every season is so different. And the celebrities are like my favorite because I feel like I meet so many different people from different walks of life. And that to me is exciting because you can, Buzz Aldridge, who was an astronaut, to like a footballer, to like, an actor, you just meet so many different people. And to me, that's exciting. I think that's why people love the show because you get so many people from different genres of life and walks of life that it's so funny to watch them dance, something that they're not used to.
Well, you do it beautifully. The collaboration is incredible. So I'm curious, what would the Stephen of today say to the Stephen starting his first season at Dancing with the Stars? What advice would this give?
Oh man, this Stephen would tell the old Stephen that just make sure you're gonna be working every day. Just make sure you're okay with that.
It's that simple. Yeah.
It's that simple. I know. It's that simple. Or, you just have to you have to give your kind of life into it. And you have to love it to make sure that's the way you want to go. But yeah, I didn't know going to this would be an everyday thing, but I've gotten used to it though, and I think what's great is when you have a great team and you really love your team and you love like not only just the work, but the people that you're with, So, you know, our team is great. You know, we just laugh and try to make it happy. Danielle and I are always laughing and trying to, like, and people see that actually when they meet us and we're working together. They're like, oh my God, you guys are, you know, seem like you're having fun. No, it's, no, it's great. No, we make it a great, you know, we have to because it's so much work. So we want to make it enjoyable. Yeah.
Jan asks a question, which I'm going to paraphrase slightly. She asks, or he or she asks, are there any disasters you're willing to share? I will ask it in a way of mishaps that last minute you had to wave the wand and make it all okay.
I think what's tricky is because they don't wear the outfits like until a couple hours of the show. So I guess with any of those challenges that happen is that sometimes it has happened too, where in the past seasons where they would look it on camera and they're like, you know what, can we change the color on that? It's custom built, David, so it's hard. So literally I'm last minute dyeing something like right before the show. And that's nerve-wracking because you just hope, one, it dyes the right color. And I usually dye it myself because I'm pretty good dyer from my background. And I also, if a mistake is done, it's going to be me. You know what I mean? Like if anything, I'm not going to be, it's going to be me. Like it's on me, you know? So I prefer to dye it myself. So I would rush right after rehearsal and start dyeing it. Like I would, you know, in rehearsal, I'll tell someone, get the water boiling. So when I get there, it's ready. Because I'm still in rehearsal. I can't dye it, you know, I can't leave and dye it. So I have someone already start getting it all prepped up, and then I would dye it myself. But that's a small, you know, one of the examples where it's like a last minute change. And I guess like it happens, like, you know, they see it overall, the picture, or they see it with the set and lighting, and then they want to change the color, or we have to dip it down or something. There's always something of that. It does happen. Hopefully not all the time, but you know, that's one example. I guess another example is like, say, like, because they are moving, we just don't want certain body parts to come out, or if like, you know, like everything has to be just really tight. So, I mean, a lot of it is right after rehearsal, we're rushing the costume back to alter it, or like a hem needs to be hemmed higher, things like that. But we pretty much, our workrooms have been so amazing that we pretty much have it, knock on wood, pretty well done. Yeah.
Wow. Nerve-wracking. So we have another question. Has anyone said no to wearing something?
Yeah, they have. I think sometimes when you get into the situation where they do want a certain look for them, and then, you know, the celebrity might be like, well, that's not really what I want to wear. And then that's where you have to just, it's a back and forth, and you feel like you're this liaison going back from the creative and then going back to them and then trying to make it blend and make it happy. So you kind of go into an in-between, like, you know, like something that would make everyone happy. Sometimes I'm not sure if that's the best way, because then it's kind of this in-between and it's not like one way or another, you know? But that's a very challenging thing, is trying to make sure they're happy and the creative's happy and that it actually goes well together. But yeah, that does happen too. But not as often now, hopefully.
Excellent. Well, that's very good to hear. So you mentioned earlier that you're very inspired by the 1930s and 40s. I'm just curious, what, you know, how, you know, after so many seasons of doing a show, you know, that when you think about it, you know, this is a really a long-term job for you. You know, you've been doing, you know, so many seasons, so many costumes. I'm curious, how do you what's your secret to staying fresh and approaching each season as, you know, kind of a, you know, a new project, if you will?
Yeah, so we also, besides looking at, you know, things that I'm inspired by, we also look at a lot of fashion too. So, you know, we could look at McQueen or Dior, like different like fashions that are happening too, just so we can stay current. So a lot of things we do that too. We look at a lot of current fashions just to get inspired. What's also great is looking at some music videos too. We do that too. But that just keeps us in current to things that are just kind of in right now. Just people that are familiar with it to when they're watching. I think what really helped is when we have our themes too. That actually, I really like the themes because then not only are you doing like, a rumba, but it's like, the Little Mermaid doing the rumba. It's like really different. It's really different. Or we have our Halloween themes, which is great, like Frankenstein's doing a paso. So, but like, as in like, yeah, we would definitely look at, period things, but also current fashion trends that are up to date, just so we can stay current with everything.
Excellent. Well, Stephen, this has been truly a delight. We thank you so much for joining us on NAC at Home. For our audience, if you're interested in other programs, please visit the National Arts Club, nationalartsclub.org online. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Stephen, thank you so much for your time today and for delighting us with your beautiful work for so many seasons on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, thank you so much, David, for having me.
Thank you.